This is the Swarm and Shoot Football Show with me, Manny Matsakis, the head football coach at Defiance College, where we feature Defiance College football and everything that influences our program. This show is brought to you by our friends at Big B Coffee, right across the street here on North Clinton Street. And it's literally right across from our offices. They do a fantastic job, and they support our program and this particular podcast. Get the finest coffee beverages in Defiance, as well as great pastries, breakfast sandwiches to start your day off and get a pick-me-up in the afternoon. As we get started on today's episode, which is episode number 30, our new sponsor, along with Big B Coffee, is BSN. And Rob Held and BSN basically handle all your sporting goods needs for high schools, colleges, all kinds of clubs and so forth in the area. And anybody listening to this, if you want to just get on and check out BSN Sports, and Rob Held and his crew will definitely take care of you. Today, on this episode, my associate head coach is here, Ernest Wilson, and we're going to discuss our strategies for community service in Defiance. And Ernest, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here.
Here we go. Well, as associate head coach, you have a multitude of roles in the program, and, you deal with fundraising, which we'll talk about in another episode, academics. You're also a professor on campus, and with that being said, you teach sports management. And but today, we're going to visit about community service because it's such a big deal for us in town to be visible and make sure that we are contributing in the community. And as you spearhead our community service program, what are some of the benefits for our players in this method of contribution that you've been setting up for us?
Well, first of all, we just want to be able to just use the simple word, help out. Mm-hmm. I think that it'll help our young men, who mainly are freshmen, to be exposed to things that they may not have been exposed to before. Not only helping out and being in the community, but many of them come in here undecided majors. So they'll be able to see different jobs that people do and maybe find something that they want to jump on.
Yeah, we always talk about them finding their life's calling while they're here. And I can certainly see with a lot of the programs that you've put into place right now that they can, just the networking aspect of this is definitely a benefit for our players.
Yes, definitely. The networking will help. And they also help. I always tell, we always as coaches tell them that, hey, it'll help get people out to the games. Mm-hmm. But, most of our kids grow up people. We're a football team, so we learn to work together as a team. We have social needs, I always say, as a coach. As a player, and then be able to help us go out into community and be part of a team.
Yeah, without a doubt. When you look at the town of Defiance and the surrounding communities in the area here, you and I got here at the same time, and what have you noticed about the region in and of itself, just what it has to offer our players and so forth?
It's a very, I say it like this giving region. People are just outgoing. They're good people. They work hard, and I think that helps our players to be able to see people working hard, trying to better themselves, and then at the same time, we have young people from all backgrounds. Yeah, so what's really cool about this is that they see people and say, hey, they're no different than us. Mm-hmm. So let's get out there and join hands and go to work. And that's one thing I noticed about our region.
Now, what are some of the programs that to this point you've incorporated in the football program at this point?
It's still growing, but the first one we probably, yesterday we did the Martin Luther King, and we had the mayor, and then we had the police chief, the fire chief, other dignitaries there. So we were able to help out and be part of that. Martin Luther King Day. We're working Backpack for Buddies, which we'll have our first round on the 30th. We have about 12, 15 guys there.
What is that involved?
That's basically what it is, and it's unfortunate that we come in and we pack food and other items in a backpack for the young, and give it out to the elementary schools. They take the backpacks, they give them to the kids that's not fortunate enough, and they take the food home when they get fed on the weekends, because sometimes they don't get any food.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. Yeah,
that's
important.
Yes, very much so. I was involved in another plan at another group just like this, and at another school I worked at. And it was just unbelievable, because you just take for granted sometimes, even that can of soup you have.
Oh, yeah.
And to be able to do something like that is very special. And, hopefully one day that young man, I always say it like this, young man or young woman will be president of the United States, and you helped them out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what this whole program is. I mean, when you're dealing with community service. And now the other thing is we get a chance to meet with some other really special people. And you talk about Pastor Ray for a little bit, because he's been involved in our program during the fall when he comes in and talks to the players and so forth. But how do you see that and other church groups involved in our community service program?
I see Pastor Ray. Pastor Ray is a church that I was fortunate to join, Galilee Baptist Church, located on Douglas Avenue. Services is at 11 o'clock.
There you go.
But, he's done an outstanding job. He was really out of the Napoleon, as well as the Defiance communities, trying to help out, feeding the town, doing almost everything. Put together the Martin Luther King system, or the day yesterday, fed the basketball teams, been feeding the basketball teams, and trying to be part of everything in Defiance.
Yeah.
So he's outstanding human being, great person, but a great minister too.
Yeah. No, Ray has great life lessons for our players that he shares with us during the season, and it's good to be involved with Pastor Ray and make this thing really special for our players, and there's other, we're more than willing to get involved with some other churches out there and
Yes.
and service groups that might want to reach out to us.
Oh, definitely. We've had we're also doing a food bank with another one of the churches, and I'm excited about that. With the food bank, and then yesterday I found out about another food bank.
Okay.
So I hope to be able to help them with working with our players to go out to food banks. So those are some exciting things that we're trying to do throughout the community.
How can people reach out to you specifically? I mean, a lot of times I'll get an email and I forward it to you. That's how
Yes.
some of these things happen. How can they reach out to you specifically? What's your email, and how can they get to you?
Well, you can reach me on my email. It's www.ewilson at defiance.edu. I don't mind giving out my cell phone number, 575-639-3548.
Yeah, and it's all for the greater good, and I think that's what we're doing here, and I think our players genuinely enjoy it, because they get involved in their day to day. I mean, we've got them lifting weights right now. We've got them, going to class, making sure they're taking care of business. They have academic meetings with their coaches on Tuesdays, and we really want to develop well-rounded young men that will represent us well come this fall. And what are some things that you've seen at other schools that come to mind that we could start to generate some ideas of what we can do from a contribution standpoint?
Well, it's just like what we talked about this morning. I would like to try to get a reading program. Maybe, I don't know if we have Special Olympics here in town.
Yeah.
There's many things that I would like to do, but those are two main events I would like to do to especially help out these young children out here. So if we can do that, maybe do a camp. We talked to myself and Jovan Johnson, our defensive coordinator, talked about putting together camps, certain camps that we can help out. But, we're always looking to get involved.
Well, there's no question. And I know that, our sponsors, Big B Coffee and BSN, will gladly join us in these ventures, because it's just good for the area. And I think you definitely we need to go to the first grade at Defiance Elementary.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
My man Eli will be there, and he'll be all fired up, and get our guys to wear their jerseys in there. And I think the neat thing about when you bring up a reading program is, especially you're in the elementary schools, and there's not, when I talk to people here in our School of Education, there's not a lot of men in childhood education. And I think that role model for us to be out in those elementary schools reading to those young boys and girls, giving them like, oh wow, that's that's a football player at Defiance College. Yeah, of course, they'll want to tell their parents, they want to bring them to the games and all that. But more importantly, I think the key in this day and age is that role model that we want to make sure our players understand is, no matter what, you're a college football player and you are a role model, and everything you do is under a microscope when you're a college athlete. So I think that plays a part of it without question, and I think we can definitely move ahead on that. Anything else you notice out there that people are doing, or what's going on?
Well, those are two main things with the like I said, Special Olympics and the reading programs. Mm-hmm. But I know we also have done the football camps with the YMCA.
Oh, yeah. So, Javon goes and does that in the summer.
Yes.
And we bring a lot of players out, and we do those even during the season. Sometimes we'll have our players go over on Sunday, and they'll just help out kids, flag football and put them through some drills and so forth. So, yeah, absolutely. I think we're here to help, and and ultimately that's
I would love to see. I mean, I know that we show Defiance and we show the water running in the river. So I don't know if we got anything like camping. Maybe we could take kids overnight camping. Maybe we could do some other things, not involving sports, not involving also reading, but maybe just take them on a camping trip or doing things like that. I don't know if the recreation programs here have anything like that, but that'd be neat to do.
Well, there's people out there. I mean, we do get lots of downloads of this podcast. So everybody out there listening, I just want to, put that word out to you, because we're always looking for ways to improve, and this helps our players improve as people, which makes them better players on Saturdays in the fall. So I want to thank you, Coach, for coming on board.
Hey, thank you.
And we'll make this thing happen. And in the future, we will talk a little bit about fundraising and academics, on separate podcasts. And I know you are enjoying the teaching process here. What are you teaching right now?
I'm teaching the history of U.S. sports.
Okay.
It should be interesting.
Yeah.
I got about 35, 36 kids in the class. Wow. It's one of the biggest. Our average class size at Defiance is only 12 to 15 students.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a big class, mainly comprised
you're so
of majors.
Popular. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah. We just say that.
That's good. I mean, I love it that we do have you and Dr. Jeremy Taylor, that are actually contributing from an academic standpoint.
Yes.
At the college. So thanks again, and in a moment we'll come back and hear a few words. Thank you for joining us on the Swarm and Shoot Football Show. If you're listening to this podcast, make sure to subscribe in iTunes. Give us a rating and comment on the show. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the bell so you can get notifications when we release the next show. Feel free to comment below on this specific show. If you'd like to get all kinds of updates, go to our website at swarmandshoot.com, where you will be up to date on everything in our program. You will get this podcast from an audio version as well as the YouTube version, all on our website. You'll see feature articles on our current players and alumni, along with updates of everything that we can share with you that's going on in our program. Take a minute, subscribe with your email to receive regular alerts every time we update the website.